There are a couple of sayings that I really have enjoyed over the years, and one of them is that the the problem is the solution. So there's this idea that within a particular problem, there's a solution that we're looking for, and then the corollary to that is that the attempted solution is actually the problem, and that's the one that I wanted to talk about today. Um, is that very often the problem, what we're experiencing as a problem, isn't inherently the problem, but the way in which we're trying to solve it, the way in which we're bringing ourselves to it, is actually keeping us stuck and keeping us in a consistent, rigid relationship where we have no access to a solution or something that we would consider a solution or something that would be satisfying. And I think there's certain types of problems or certain types of situations that lend themselves to this. I at times I've struggled with organizing, and the funny thing is, when I would sit down to organize something, especially because I had this idea that I'm bad at it, the more I got into the situation, the more confused I would become, and the less capable I would become at actually dealing with it. So it was almost the more I was trying to confront my challenge, the more my state was dropping and the more confused and frustrated I would become until I would just say, kind of screw it and walk away. And I can see this in many people that when they're confronted with what they're perceiving as a challenging situation, their emotional state goes immediately, and they start getting frustrated or overwhelmed or tired or angry, and all of this tension uh, almost puts on the blinders to where they can't come up with any solutions. So instead of like them encountering it and going, okay, what are some different ways I can look at this? Where can I find something new? Um, the their intensity of trying to solve it is sort of creating a straitjacket where they can't see um, or feel or hear solutions. So it's a trap. It's I've talked about it. It's like one of those finger traps that the more you pull to try to get out of it, the more it holds against you. So the solution isn't what we think it is. Um, and one thing you can do is think about the idea that if what you're doing isn't working, try anything else. And um, and I would go so far as to say, um, at least for a moment, to stop trying. It's I think it's the constant trying that can really get in our way. And it's funny when we think hard to try to get an answer, it's very hard to come up with answers. If you're trying to solve something, a puzzle, very often the best way to solve a puzzle is to relax into it and let go and say, you know what, I'm gonna put my mind on something else for a while. I'm not forgetting that I have something, an area that needs attention, but I'm gonna stop consciously trying to solve it and maybe go for a walk or maybe connect with my body or meditate, um, or enjoy some time with some friends, and then that can create some space that can allow insight to arise. Sometimes instead of thinking, how can I solve this, if you start to think of how have I gotten inspiration in the past, what are times and places where I have been able to think of new solutions. And And also, giving yourself time to collect yourself and to feel good and to be rested, um, or to exercise and lose excess tension in the body. All these things can allow things and solutions to begin to flow. Um, so, you know, in terms of NLP, for the NLP folks who are listening, this could be just stepping away from the situation. It could be disassociating, looking at it from the outside. It could be going dancing. It could be going for a walk. Doing anything that creates bilateral stimulation will be helpful. Really doing just about anything other than what you've been attempting uh, should be refreshing to your nervous system and hopefully bring some new information um, that might lead to something else. Sometimes I'll let myself just give up just for a moment. And I think at times when I'm struggling with something, there's something in me that just doesn't want to give up. Like, I don't want to be a quitter. But if I say to myself, okay, I'm going to let myself give up completely, but just for 5 minutes, but really let myself have that feeling of like, I give up, I surrender, I failed miserably. And then it's like amazing, like all of a sudden a flash of insight will come. Or at least my nervous system can relax and sort of um, regroup and start to feel good again. Um, so that's something I recommend, that the next time you're really trying to solve a problem, let it go for a moment. Let it go dance, go draw, get out some colored pencils, just have some fun, joke around with some friends, go for a swim, and see what emerges from that.